in order to increase love of friends. Just as Rash explains, we have huge privilege of following Rash's steps. Our teacher said this week that we just need to follow Rash, and this is our privilege. We read together, we get instructions, and now we're implementing them. What a great thing it is. And truly in the excerpt we now read, there's an ocean of advice on how to increase the greatness of the society, how to increase the greatness of the friends between us. Let us now raise them out of what we now grasped. We could even go back and read the text if we wish. Excerpts from it. Henri, in the week remaining before the Congress, how do we raise the importance of them and the love of friends between us? How do we amp the love of friends between us? What advice do we have for that purpose? Please, we have a 10 meeting. Usually the meetings of our 10 are very internal, very powerful. So the first suggestion is to prepare for this evening's meeting. Each one should scrutinize what he wants to demand from the meeting between us. However we prepare, this is what we will get, and we see what the meanings of our tea are like. We've all experienced the internality and the greatness that we have in the tea, so let's build an expectation for a meeting. Now in the workshop was incorporation. There was a question earlier about what's unique about each friend. Each friend is simply a part of the Creator, a point of the Creator, and through him the Creator reveals. So if we incorporate and anal toward each friend who speaks, and we incorporate with him, so that's already our connection with the Creator. That's already each friend brings in advice. It doesn't matter what he says, but through him the Creator speaks, and that's what we need, right? So first of all, today I'm one of the friends in charge of the content of our meeting today. So I was thinking that today we're following the order of the assembly here, the praise of the friends and ideas to correct. And by the way, he didn't write it, but the final stage is also to be in joy and talk about the what we received, how much wholeness we feel. So first of all we realized this, and I had another idea to try for a week to turn each meeting in our Zoom ought to do it according to this order, to try to do it. Maybe it'll work right here, but it turns out that each and everyone needs to look at the goal of the assembly, look seriously at the goal of the society assembly, that it needs to bring a feeling that after the gathering of the friends each one will have something in his hand. So we now have a gathering. To this evening we have a gathering, and we need to constantly create in our heart the goal of the assembly. What do we want to achieve, and what do we want to bring out from it that we want to achieve? More connection, incorporation and AD between us, and we want that the force of the Creator to hold that between us. Each time we should place the goal of the assembly above our heads, that will lead us. Why do we come to the 10 meeting? Why do we come to sit with the friends? Yeah, as it's written, if not now, then when. My suggestion is to realize the love of friends between us. Now ask that love of friends will be between us and be realized between us. Now Sash writes that each one should have special attention during the assembly. So the assembly is. Now I wanted to say that the 10 meeting is something very special, and I very much hope that we will be able to gather and implement it in practice this opportunity, because really there is nothing like a 10 meeting through which we can feel the love of friends, from that in which the friends contribute. They're really ready to contribute a part of their lives just to bring the friends closer to that same state that is called the love of friends. So that's what we also need to ask the Creator, that we will hold that as something precious, and not to leave the value of that opportunity, that through this action we'll be able to be in this common effort, and we'll be able to supply the whole 10 with strength to see that is exactly our work, that we'll be able to really feel that on our flesh, that this depends on each and every one of us, on how much we want and do, as the friends give examples of. Thank God that we have lots of examples in our 10 each and every day. So let us be in that, let us be together, yet to maintain the spirit of the time, the spirit of our goal of love, our friends. And I want to both set an example to the friends and also take from them, and to try to see everything that the Creator does through them. I want to try to see it and appreciate that's the advice to be adhered among us and around the articles, the writings of the Kabbalists, so that nothing will just go by us and focus on the connection. Yes, this structure is something that was created by someone with attainment who sees the things correctly, so he really begins with that, in which we should praise the Creator and then try to find the friends. That is all directed at best bow means doing something outside of myself. So for the Creator, we don't know how to do that because we don't have an approach to that, but through the friends, that's our one approach to bestow, and nothing is by chance. We need that force through which we can act above reason, and then we'll be able to see that it is correct. So it seems to me that working through the 10 is like observing that sentence of we will do and we will, and here first we will do, and then we will. Here first we will, then we will. Understand that how corrected it is, both through the outcome and also through their feeling. I think one of the best ideas that we have to realize all the time is to have the process living in you all the time, and if it really lives in a person, the words will be right, the incorporation is correct, everything will fall in its right place. And part of our learning is to understand that this vitality constantly goes away. We have to renew it, so the question is, how do we do it? We can see it. Now test together with the article with the books revives us, and it's so simple, it's that simple to get into the article, to talk about the article with the friends. It instills in us a new war, a new vitality, new air to want to be better toward the purpose of creation. Test, so we have to try to constantly simply live. That's the advice. Yes, the love of friends needs to really be burning in the heart. In the heart, it needs to live in us. We want to be in this heart ifness before the congress, to connect between our hearts, to open our hearts, that there will be more and more thoughts, so that it will spread over the 10, that we'll be able to, and that love will allow us to focus more deeply on the center of the 10, and suggested earlier that we use this agenda in all our meetings. On every Zoom meeting I had, that we can use it every moment, advises us after we raise this advice. We need to reach decisions that need to be accepted by the whole society among all the friends, and that there is no matter of coercion here. Dear friends, we stand before the biggest goal that drives our lives, and we would like to thank the Creator for making this a possibility for us to be part of His work. The greatness of the society, the greatness of the friends, the greatness of our Rav, the greatness of the sages that came before us. We don't take this for granted, because without this we wouldn't be where we are. We've been through a lot of congresses, but this congress is the most important that we can never even think about, and we're here to turn to the Creator together as one. CLE, as a group of Kabbalists, we don't have anyone else to tend to, but the issue here is that we don't want to ask for ourselves, because it's written that he who asks for his friend receives first. So we would like to ask on behalf of the whole world. We would like to ask on behalf of everyone who doesn't have a voice. We stand before the Creator with a grateful heart, with a lot of joy and readiness for what he wants to do with us. We hear above all the obstacles, above all the confusion and everything happening in the world, and we know the Creator wants to do something special with us. Again, this is what he does every time, and we're ready for it. We would like to thank him once again for the possibility to be alive in this time of existence and to be part of this process, and we would like him to keep guiding us and holding us together as one vessel in readiness for what he wants to do with us. Friend, this congress is not a simple congress, it's the most important congress ever. Is going to open up a big step ahead of us, and who knows, we may see things we've never seen before. We may experience things that we've never experienced before as a result of this Congress, but we have to be ready for it. We have a covenant with the Creator, and we have a covenant with ourselves, and we can't let ourselves down. Let's help our sages, let's help our Rav, let's help our friends, let's help their world, and eventually it will help ourselves, because this is our only salvation. Let's do this in unity, in connection, in love, with an open heart, and with the greatness of the Creator leading us every step of this way. Let's do it together. Friends, first source excerpt from Light and Sun. The essence of the assembly is for everyone to be in one unity, and for all to seek but one purpose, to find the Creator in every 10 there is. Clearly, if there are more than 10, then there's more revelation of the th. Each one should assemble with his friend and come to him to hear from him a word about the work of the Creator and how to find the Creator. He should anal before his friend, and his friend should do the same for him, and so should everyone do then when they assembles with this intention, and the Creator approaches them, and he is with them more than the calf wishes to suckle, the cow wants to feed. Necessarily the Creator brings himself closer to them, and he's with them, and great mercies and good and revealed kindness will be extended over the assembly of Israel. Again, light, and the essence of the assembly is for everyone to be in one unity, and for all to seek but one purpose, to find the Creator in every 10 there is. Clearly, if there are more than 10, then there is more revelation of that. Thus each one should assemble with his friend and come to him to hear from him a word about the work of the Creator and how to find the Creator. He should anal before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him, and so should everyone do then when the assembly is with this intention. Then necessarily more than the sea wishes to suckle, the cow wants to feed, and the Creator approaches them, and he is with them, and great mercies and good and revealed kindness will be revealed, will be extended over the assembly of Israel. And our SC for the accept just read brought us to scrutinize a statement at is, and he should honor before his friend, and his friend should honor before him. Friends, the statements produce 3 questions, and the friends go through it. These 3 questions, and eventually we pick one as our workshop active workshop question. But the joy of entering to this Congress together has actually prepared our 10 African 10 into a new state of one hearts. Our population are learning together, and our deep connection has been an amazing experience, a state we have been yearning for, which have actually prepared us now to enter into the Congress. And therefore our active question is this: how can we, our mutual annulment, bring the Creator closer to us all? How can our mutual anointment bring the Creator closer to us? How does our mutual ement help us adhere to the Creator? Begins with seeing the greatness of their friends, looking for where I can add more of my sesame seed, as we say, where I can adhere, add to the connection, and the Kabbalists write about that, about the light, and so on. But we need to act to do it in practice. Yes, we also talked about it yesterday in our meeting, that we committed to only add each time, and every time we want add in the connection, in the love, and in this way we'll get closer to each other. Yes, when we're full of ourselves, then the Creator has no place to enter. Anning yourself before the Creator, you can think about it, but it just increases your pride, right? But the place where you can actually do it is annulment towards each other, between the friends, working on love towards them, and restricting self-love, and admitting the Creator into the yes. We shouldn't get confused about the word annulment. Simply means that we make room out of our egoistic self, and we give room to the quality of bowl and love, so it can exist, it can be revealed between us. It's simply about the import of others, of the Creator, that it should be greater than my own importance. I feel about 2 things. One is that it helps to acquire lacks from the friends in order to increase your lack, and you do that by anning yourself before them. And the other thing A son said it lowers a person's pride and allows the Creator to enter into him. Yes, what hinders us from connecting is the will to receive, because each one thinks about himself, and an almond seems to be the root of all of our work. I have to ask that I'll be able to put it aside as though it does not exist, and ask of the upper light to connect us so that it will be able to enter into the vessel. During this past week, when we prayed, we thought of the great friends who make a huge effort to come to Israel for this Congress, and we understood that in the multitude that's where the Creator is found, and it brings such a great joy that every little effort that each friend does, it actually increases the greatness of the Creator of the society, and bring us even more closer and open heart. So that's why we decided to go with the upcoming exit that speaks of the King's glory being in the multitude of the people, and I will hand over to us. We read the next excerpt. Rush writes, "It is written, quote, in the multitude of people is the King's glory." End quote. It follows that the greater the number of the collective, the more effective is the power of the collective. In other words, they produce a stronger atmosphere of greatness and importance of the Creator. At that time, each person's body feels that he regards anything that he wishes to do for holiness, meaning to bestow upon the Creator, as a great fortune, as he has been privileged with being among people who have been rewarded with serving King. At that time, every little thing he does fills him with joy and pleasure, for now he has something with which to serve their King. Africa. Please, so friends, as we conclude this preparation, let us now enter this silent, powerful gathering in order to really feel divinity and the Creator. And I'm reminded in that booklet other Sist a cinematic where Bue Salam guides his students into entering divinity, into entering the abode of the Creator, and where he tells them no thoughts of self, and each one holding each other as one. So let us, if we can, we close our eyes, we close our ears, so that we have no judgments, no disturbances, and let's enter this silent workshop as one and give full attention to it. Let's enter connection in one heart and feel the Creator there. Sham hello, we should be reading from the writings of Rash, the article you stand today. All of you can find all of our texts on Kabbalah Media Info, as well as on the food platform, where you can also send us questions live. Anyone asking a question here in the study hall is requested to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth, and to speak loudly and clearly. You stand today, all of you. The interpreters ask about the words. What you stand today, all of you, your heads, your tribes, your elders, and your officers, every man of Israel. And quote, it begins with the plural form ATM, which is you plural in Hebrew, and ends in singular form, every man of Israel. The author of the book Light and Sun Mess explains that by using plural form and singular form, it points to the matter of love of friends, although among your heads, tribes, etc., still no one sees greater merit in himself than in any man of Israel. Instead, everyone is equal in that no one complains about the other. For this reason, from above too, they are treated accordingly. This is why great abundance is art is imparted below. It is our way to study everything within one subject. It turns out that a person should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven as an ox to the burden, and as a donkey to the load, which are the discernments of mind and heart. In other words, all of one's work should be in order to bestow accordingly. If one works in order to bestow, and does not wish for any reward in return except to do the holy work without hoping to be given any addition to what he has, that he has no wish even for additional work. In other words, receiving some knowledge that he is walking on the right path is certainly a just demand, and yet he relinquishes even that because he wishes to go with his eyes shut and believe in the Creator, and what he can do he does, and he is content with his lot. and he even feels that there are people who have some understanding of the work of the Creator, while he sees that he is completely empty in other words. Many times he feels a good taste in the work, and at times he feels that he is in a state of your heads. In other words, at times he thinks that now he has reached a degree where it is impossible that he will ever decline to a state of loneliness, meaning to a state where if he wishes to engage in the work of God, he has to make great efforts to for his body at that time. What he does is by compulsion, because he has no desire for the work, and the body only wishes to rest and does not care for anything. Instead, at that time he feels that he has already come to know for sure that there is nothing else in the world except to work in order to bestow, and then he certainly finds good taste in the work. And when he regards his previous state, he cannot understand now that he is in a state of ascens. Hence, by all calculations, he decides that now is impossible that he will ever suffer a decline. But sometimes after a day, an hour, or a few minutes, he descends to such a state of lowliness that he cannot immediately feel that he has fallen from his uplifted state to the depth of the great abyss. Rather, at times after an hour or two, he suddenly sees that he has fallen from the highest level, meaning from his previous certainty that he was the strongest man, and he is like any man of Israel, meaning like an ordinary person. Then he begins to seek advice in his heart. What should I do now? How can I pick myself up to the state of greatness that I had before? At that time, one should walk on the path of truth and say my current state being in utter loneliness, meaning that I was deliberately thrown out from above to know if I truly wish to do the holy work in order to bestow, if I wish to be God's servant, because I find it more rewarding than other things. Then if one can say, now I want to work in order to bestow, and I do not want to do the holy work to receive some gratification in the work. Instead, I will settle for doing the work of holiness like any man of Israel who goes to pray or takes a lesson on the daily portion, and he doesn't have time to think then with what intention he studies or prays, but simply observes the actions without any special intention. At that time he will re-enter the holy work, because now he wishes to be God's servant, simply and without any preconditions. This is the meaning of what is written, quote, you stand today, all of you, end quote, meaning everything you went through, all the states you have experienced, whether states of greatness or states less than greatness, which are considered intermediary states, and so on. You take all those details and you do not compare one degree to another, because you do not care for any reward, but only for doing the Creator's will, who commanded us to observe the commandments and study Torah. And this is what we do like any common man of Israel. In other words, the state he is in right now is as important to him as when he thought that he was in a state of greatness at that time. Quote, the Lord your God makes a covenant with you this day, end quote. This means that then the Creator makes a covenant with him precisely when one accepts the Creator's work without any conditions and agrees to do the holy work without any reward, which is called unconditional surrender. Then the Creator makes a covenant with him. I explained the matter of making a covenant. When two people see that they love each other, they then make a covenant between them that their love will always endure. And he asked if they love each other and understand that this love will never leave them. Why this covenant? Why do they make this covenant? Meaning, for what purpose? In other words, what do they gain by the making of a covenant? Is it only ritual, or is it for some benefit? And he said that the matter of making a covenant is that, as they now understand that it is in their interest for each to love the other because of reasons they can now see, as each one feels the other and sees that he cares for him, so they make a covenant. and as now neither of them has any complaints against his friend, or they would not make a covenant, they tell each other it is worthwhile for us to make a covenant once and for all. In other words, if there will ever be state where one has complaints against the other, God forbid, they will both remember the covenant that they made when love was revealed between them likewise now, even though they currently do not feel the love as they did before, they still evoke the old love and do not look at the state they are currently in. Instead, they return to doing things for one another. This is the benefit of the covenant. Thus, even when the love that was between them is lost, it's fancy because they made the covenant, they have the strength to reawaken the shining love that they had before. In this way, they usher each other back into the future. It follows that making a covenant is for the future. It is like a contract that they sign, so they will not be able to regret when they see that the ties of love are not as they were, that this love gave them great pleasure while they were doing good to each other. Now that love has been corrupted, they are powerless and none can do anything for their other. But if they do wish to do something for their friends, they must consider the making of their covenant that they had before. Out of that they should rebuild their love. It is like a person who signs a contract with his friend, and the contract connects them so they cannot part from one another. It follows that, quote, you stand today all of you, and quote, meaning he thinks of details, your heads, your tribes, your elders, and your officers, every man of Israel. This means that of all the high degrees that he had, it is now considered for him that he is in a state of every man of Israel, and he assumes that state as when he was in a state that he considered good, and he says, now I do my part, and I agree that the Creator will give me what he wants, and I have no criticism. At that time he is rewarded with making a covenant. In other words, the connection remains forever because the Creator made a covenant with him for all eternity. According to the above, we should interpret the verse, quote, the secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our sons forever, that we may do all the work. Words of this Torah end. Quote, we should understand what this verse comes to tell us. We cannot say that it comes to tell us that we do not know what is hidden, and only the Creator knows. We cannot say that, because without the verse we do not know what is hidden from us. Thus, what does the verse come to tell us? It is known that there is a thing that is hidden and a thing that is revealed. It means that the active part of what we do is when we can see whether or not we are acting, doing it, and if the body does not wish to perform their commandment, there is a tate. One can force oneself, meaning that he is compelled to observe the commandment against his will. It follows that coercion is relevant with revealed things. The hidden thing is the intention in the commandment. This one cannot see, meaning what the other one intends while acting. It is the same with the person himself. The one who acts, he too cannot know if he is not fooling himself during the ACT. He thinks that he has no other goal, and that he is completely dedicated to the Creator, but with the action called the revealed part, it is irrelevant to speak of a person lying to himself that he thinks that he is wearing, when in truth it is not vain. Similarly, a woman cannot lie to herself, saying that she lights the Shabbat candles when in fact she doesn't, but with intention it can be said that one lies to himself. He thinks that he is working lishmer for her sake, when in fact he is entirely in lishmer not for her sake also. There cannot be coercion because one cannot coerce one's thoughts into thinking what he wants to think regarding things that belong to emotion or knowledge. A person is powerless to force his mind to understand differently than it does, or feel differently than how he feels. Now we can understand the above matter, that all that is left for us is the practical part. This is called, quote, the things that are revealed belong to us and to our sons forever, that we may do all the words of this Torah and quote. We are commanded to perform the action, meaning it is the deed that we are commanded to do even by coercion, but as for the intention called, the mysteries the hidden part in that no man has any view or governance. Thus what should we do to keep the hidden parts as well? Here all that one can do is test, meaning to examine himself to see if he is truly doing everything in order to bestow or whether the body resists the aim to bestow. He feels that he is removed from it to the extent that there is nothing he can do alone, since whatever he plans to do, all the tactics to be able to aim in order to bestow do not help him. It is about that the verse comes to tell us that this matter of Ephelame called the hidden part belongs to the Lord our God. In other words, only the Creator can help him, while there is absolutely no possibility that he himself would realize it. It is not in the hands of man, because it is above nature. This is why the verse says, quote, the mysteries belong to the Lord our God, and quote, meaning that it belongs to him, that the Creator should provide this force called to bestow. This is why our sages said, man's inclination overpowers him every day and seeks to put him to death. As it is said, the wicked watches the righteous and seeks to slay him, and if the Creator did not help him, he would not overcome it. As it is said, the Lord will not leave him in his hand. And if the matter of seeking to slay him means that it wishes for man to do everything in order to receive, which is regarded as being separated from the life of thus naturally one remains a beast. This is why our sages said, quote, the wicked are called dead while still alive, end quote. It turns out that it is called death when one's intention is to receive. This is considered separation, to be rewarded with adhesion, meaning to be granted the strength to bestow, to have such a thing. Only the Creator can give it to him. It is not in man's power to obtain this. As sages said, quote, man's inclination overpowers him every day and seeks to slay him, and if the Creator did not help him, he would not overcome it. As it is said, the Lord will not leave him in his hand, end quote. From what we explained, we can understand the verse, quote, the mysteries belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our sons, and quote, thus only the ACT is for us to do, but the hidden part is for the Creator to do. However, there is still something for us to do about the hidden part, so that the Creator will give us the hidden parts. This follows the rule that everything requires an awakening from below. There is a rule that there is no light without a clear vessel, meaning that there is no fulfillment without a lack. You cannot insert anything unless there is an empty space, and then you can put in whatever you want. But if there is no empty space, a lack, how can we insert anything? Therefore, we should see that we do not have the vessel of bestowing, called the desire to bestow, and that this is our light, and as we explained in previous articles, our primary reward is to obtain the desire to bestow, called reflected light. As it is said, the whole reward that we hope for is the reflected light, end quote. This is in the general preface to the Tree of Life. Therefore, if the desire to bestow is called the light, then this deficiency, when one sees that he does not have the power to bestow, is called a vessel. Clearly he feels that this is what he is, meaning that he sees what he is losing by not having this power, called the power of bestow. Hence his deficiency is built in him according to his sensation. This is called a vessel and a vacancy, for here where he lacks the power of bestow, there is now room for this feeling to enter. This is called the arrival of the light into the vessel. However, we should know that receiving this vessel requires a lot of work. We have vessels called deficiencies or lacks which we wish to fill. They are called vessels of self-love, meaning that we wish to receive fulfillment. These are very important vessels because they come from the side of the Creator who created them. Existence from absence, because he wishes to do good to his creations, meaning that he wishes to give fulfillment. Yet how is it possible to give fulfillment if there is no vacancy in which to place the filling? For this reason he created these vessels' existence from absent to place the delight and pleasure in them. It turns out that this is the essence of the vessel that the Creator created. However, because this vessel is called a desire to receive, it wished to have equivalence of form called adhesion with the Creator. This is why this vessel was disqualified from being a vessel for the reception of the upper abundance. Now there is a need for a new vessel for reception, which dresses in the former vessel. It's only by both by clothing the will to bestow within the will to receive will this vessel bait reception. The previous vessel called the desire to receive came from the emanator. The lower one has no parts in the work of the desire to receive, rather everything comes from the emanator. Rather similarly, the second vessel called the desire to bestow comes only from the emanator as well, and the lower one cannot add, just as in the first vessel called desire to receive. However, the difference is that the vessel of bestow must first have a demand from the lower one who seeks of the Creator to be given the new vessel. This the first vessel did not have, because it came to him without any awakening on the part of the lower one. Short questions. Then, none can. In the article, he says two things which I cannot comprehend. First, he says that the intention in order to bestow is hidden from the person, meaning that he can't tell if he's truly aiming in order to bestow or not. And then a few paragraphs later, he says that a person has to examine himself all the time to see if he has the intention to bestow or not. But if it's hidden from me, how can I examine it? Nevertheless, you can raise the demand that he would like to have it. Okay, alright, so there is a demand I want to, but what kind of examination can I conduct if it's hidden from me? Then you will see it's not simple to whom you're bestowing, why you bestowing, what degrees are there in bestow. You have none of this whole topic right. It can be felt. That's why I'm asking, what kind of examination can I make with respect to something which is so hidden for me? All comes from above. There's no point in regretting that we don't have it. It's true that we don't have any of this, but the fact that we discover that we don't have it, that's the truth. However, the question is only, what should I do in order to nevertheless get closer to the understanding, to the revelation of what should be inside of me, and how I should relate to what will be revealed in me. Now that's it. But to begin with a demand, there's room for that. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. The matter of making a covenant, it's a part of the process which we with God's help will go through in the Congress each 10. So it's a kind of confidence, security, where whenever we have some dissent we can return back to love, and ultimately it's meant to bring us to a state of making a covenant with the Creator. So how can we in the 10 enter that state, or when do we enter that state? When I cannot say when you'll be aware of it, you'll receive it. What's required in order to be worthy? To be worthy, one is the general yearning, second is the goal. What else? I don't know. This is something that you need to scrutinize along the way. It's different in each 10. No, hardly. There's no difference between one 10 and another. What can you advise us with respect to making a covenant between us to work as he says? Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello to all the friends from all over the world. What does it mean to serve the Creator without any conditions? That on your part there can be no preconditions for the work, but he also says that I always need to calculate and see where my intention is in order to make requests of the Creator. So I'm this condition, there are condition that I set here. No, you're not setting any conditions in order to begin the work of getting closer to the Creator in whatever state you will be. You can start with that. So the advice he gives us here is to always examine myself regardless of what state I'm in. I must always examine myself to see if I'm aiming towards the Creator. Yes, isn't that the same as setting conditions? If I'm examining myself, if I need to accept every state I'm in. No, that's the majority of your work. Are you directed towards the Creator we every day in? You tell ourselves in the 10 that we don't want to separate regardless of what states we receive, and the Creator brings to us rather complicated states. Does that mean we're making a covenant with the Creator to a certain extent? Yes, what else must we do in the 10 with all the conditions He delivers so as to build ourselves anew? Every day strengthening the covenant with the Creator. I'm not talking about making a covenant, even strengthening the covenant with Him. So go ahead and do it. That's the question in the prayer itself. Do we need to feel that we're strengthening our covenant with Him? Yes. What do we need to do in the prayer every day so as to feel that we're growing closer and closer to the Creator? You have to bring a result of your examination. To what extent and how are you forming the right connection? The outcome you speak of where we need to see by our actions how we establish our intention by our actions. The intention is concealed, but in our actions between us. Is that how we're measured? Yes, thank you. No, thank you. He writes in the second paragraph that if one works in order to bestow and doesn't want any reward in return, rather he wants to do the holy work without hoping to be given any addition to what he has. And then he continues, he says that receiving some knowledge that he's following the right path is a just claim, right to receive the knowledge that he's advancing correctly, but in any case he relinquishes that as well because he want to walk with his eyes shut and with faith in the Creator, and what he can do he does, and he's happy with his lot. The yearning to advance with your eyes shut and believe in the Creator. Why is it more important to the than even knowing that he's walking on the right path and advancing correctly? Because he receives it, accepts it above reason. For that I don't need any proof, any guidelines by this. I just want to know that I'm in the hands of the Creator, that I'm inning myself completely, but opposite that he has the knowledge that he's walking the right path. It's not knowledge, but rather he wants to determine himself, establish himself in such a way, but there's no certainty to work in order to bestow. That's done only by way of faith. Yes, so why is the work above reason? Why does it help us reach bestow more? Because it is above reason, above men's vessels. Okay, thank you. And I had another question in the very first paragraph. He says that each one will not see any greater merit in himself, others rather. They're all equal since no one criticizes the other from above. They're treated the same. So there are two stages to this. He says that no one sees greater merit in himself than any man of Israel, which is already great work to do, because the ego always sees the opposite. So what he needs to diminish himself to subdue himself. Let's say. Okay, rather they're all equal in that no one complains but the other, and for this reason from above too they are treated accordingly. It says, and bit onwards he says that making a covenant means that now in that state no one has any complaints or claims against his friend. Why is that state where people feel complaint towards each other? These states we feel constantly. Why do they not help us advance to spirituality? He says you need to distance yourself from that, separate it away. This stems from the law that you have to exit the will to receive. So how can it be that it will be any other way? It's the same demand. So if I see some complaints against the friend, I see him doing things incorrectly, this is in my will to receive. It shows me my will to receive. Yes, so it's a precept. It keeps bringing us back to seeing that something here is wrong, and now I need to show him how to work correctly. But this other perception, the correct perception, is always to look within. I'll try. Okay, why yes. Delad here, he dedicates a separate section to what he says in many articles, that actually we need to have a deficiency for the desire to bestow. This is something new that we need, right? But there's in a paragraph here where he says that when the lack that he sees that he doesn't have the power to bestow is called a vessel, and he feels that he lacks that, which means that he sees what is missing by not having this power, called the force of pistol. How do we bring ourselves to see that we're missing by not having the power of pistol? That's not a problem even in our world. You can see in people that if they had the force of pistol they would gain and profit more. I can see it in others. Yes, they would have been more successful. No, how can a person he says he feels that he's a lacking, it means sees what is missing by not having this force, called the force of pistol. So we need to see how much we can add in understanding, in feeling in one's essence if he had more control over the force of pistol. So the question is, how do we depict this picture that there is a force of Bale a person is missing by not being there, not having it? No, depict it. Paint for yourself such a situation, meaning each one should depict it to himself, or is it the work of the 10? Yes, each one individually, and later you can do that in the 10. Yes, depict the state of Moll and say we're not in it, and therefore this is what we're missing. Yes, yes. Duty I wanted to ask towards the upcoming Congress this weekend. We also begin in a state of as ordinary people from different backgrounds, different tents. How can we unite and enter the state of every man of Israel? First of all, we have to work on where 10. I hope each one knows where he'll be situated, and we need to strengthen the connection within the 10 for each one with everyone else. Also, we have to scrutinize to see what more we can do in the 10 and what we lack in our 10 so we can finish the work. How do we scrutinize is what we are missing, lacking in the 10. It may be that we're not fulfilling all the requirements explained to us by the perhaps we cannot achieve those, so we currently look only at our 10. Where are we lacking to add you order to advance, etc.? Yes, for now that we if I state of a congress in which all the 10s gather together for one gathering, so we have something in the congress. It's a part in every article. There is some small part which touches upon the general force that we awaken. Then we begin to see that there is a connection between all those present in the Congress itself. I'm looking at how do we not miss out an opportunity when there's an effort made by all the tents, all the parts of the vessel. How do we exhaust this moment so that we can absorb something bigger, which is not only in the T but a greater force that is now present? We will feel it. To start talking about it, I'll just confuse a lot of you from the ACT. We will talk about it a little bit here and there until it's established about what he said before. If we cannot reach all the demands, meet all the demands of the Kabbalists, then what do we do? Of course, we can't meet all the demands. If I'm in 1st grade, do you demand of me things which pertain to 5th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade? Can I skip ahead to that? Of course not. And the demands are internal demands or external demands? The demands are mainly inner demands. How should I be connected with the tense? And then, how do I emerge from my T and see that I have duty, a duty to be built further outside of the 10? We'll go over it. Last question. How, in spite of all the states that we will go through, states of, as he says here, of Gödel, greatness, or less than Gödel, we constantly directed towards the upper one no matter what we're going through. I don't understand the question. He writes in the article that no matter what states you will go through, all the details you will go, you'll have states of G lut or less than G lut. Always maintain this line towards the Creator. Yes, how do we maintain a constant line towards the upper one no matter what I'm going through right now, whether it ISL or cat, greatness or smallness? Clear. I think that what's important is that I raise to the upper one all the actions, intentions, thoughts that I discover that's it. Okay, what else? Yes. Name of a congress is strengthening in the 10s, and many 10s in the worldly. Maybe the majority of the 10s people will be in different places. For example, in my 10 will be in 5 different edges in the world. So what does it mean to go through the whole congress and grow stronger in the 10? How do we go through the congress inside the 10? By being connected together throughout the days of their congress, and then you'll see all the stages that you will go through and what to do in order to strengthen yourselves more and more each time in the connection within the T, those tents which are there before you. This means that no matter with which physical bodies I mime with, I don't know what you mean by that. I mean that, for example, here there friends from Africa, from Kazakhstan, from Russia in Amica congresses, there are also friends from different cities. Some friends will be in the virtual system. How can we grow stronger? As I understand it, in the individuality of each one, even here in Israel, some of the friends will be here, some will be virtual in the same tents. It's not that everyone will be sitting together. I don't know how to put this in order for you. I think that the main thing for each one is to be aiming towards the central point of the connection of his 10 wherever he is. Where is the central point of connection of their 10, and then outside of the 10, also to conduct some scrutiny and criticism between the tens, but between the tens that comes later. We'll discuss it. But within each 10, it's extremely important. How do you see it? That every 10 in preparation for the Congress, before the Congress, create some sort of connection or special meeting where we would agree on how do we hold each other during the Congress. No matter where we will be, because we don't have such a point. Seemingly we have a connection, but that we will hold this connection during the Congress with each other all the time. Now we will work on it gradually, slowly. We'll go into that. But it's a valid point, true, which you raise correctly. Yes, I think that in this case it turns out that I'm with the friends from a latter 2 friends from our great area of Kazakhstan will come from Asia, and I know what is happening in each one of these places. The distances between us are thousands of kilometers. Is a larger one. L2 we will gather here is one big region is 110, and I keep our connection within the region. I think this a Congress will strengthen even more the ties between us. I don't know what will happen in the individuality, but in the end it will strengthen the connections within every region. That's good. Such a connection between you is good. Can write. Yes, sir. Only how could we awaken the upper one, the upper light in the tents, so that together we can raise the awareness, the forces, and be able to rise above all the challenges we have. How can we draw the light in such a way into the tents so that we can rise above all the difficulties, all the challenges? I don't understand how H is asking how do we draw the upper light from the Creator so that we can rise above, can rise in the tents above all the difficulties. There are all kinds of challenges and difficulties that the T experience, but if we set before us a goal, namely that we all need to ascend together to already be within the upper one, meaning we are planning our state to be such that in the near future, following our efforts, we will connect together and raise ourselves up to the upper one and equalize ourselves with the upper one, and that will be our ascent. Right, so what is the question? The question is, how do we overcome all the difficulties that the 10 experience? How do we draw a force from the Creator to do it? We need not look for disruptions, hindrances. To the contrary, we want to be clean, pure of all disruptions, and then to rise. Whatever hinders me, I want to cancel out. Can women from Women Turkey 8 are asking, do we have the ability to make a covenant with the Creator? Yes, yes, as it is written in the Torah, and he made a covenant with him. Continuing and asking, the covenant that a person makes with his friends, is it identical to the covenant he makes with the Creator? No, it's a previous degree from PT5. How when the love is revealed between us, for example in the Congress, we'll take advantage of this situation to make a covenant between us and the Creator, because only in the state of up that the hidden things are for the Lord your God is the Creator revealed, according to the article that we will need to come to understand. But to reach a connection with the Creator, we do that from a general lack. We obligate him. One moment you can continue till tomorrow. Yes. On page 57, third paragraph, it says the following. This means that then the Creator makes a covenant with him, meaning specifically the time that a person accepts the Creator's work, without any conditions, but rather he agrees to do the holy work without any reward. This is called unconditional surrender. Then the Creator makes a covenant with him. This means that there is a state here which is not equal between the two parts, two sides in the two parties of the covenant. Only when one surrenders unconditionally, the other one makes a covenant. I understood that a covenant is made by two people who are equal, who love each other, but here we see that in order to make a covenant with the Creator, one side has to completely surrender. Why is it so? Otherwise you will not be his equal. You will not be connected to him. So this means that in order for me to be equal, there is lack of equality. I cannot make a covenant when I surrender. So then obviously I surrender. So what kind of a covenant is that? That is the covenant. Why not after your surrender you become equal to some extent to the Creator? This means that this thing is necessary, that if I want to make a covenant with the Creator, have to surrender. Yes, thank you. Are good. Well, from the side of the kit always exists, or is there a condition for it? As we can see here, there are condition. I and a person can reach. From the article we can understand that a person can reach this state opposite taught by himself if he annuls 100% before him, and he's willing to do everything, and then it happens he has a covenant with the Creator, and then he's a certain also can. We understand it this way from the article. Yes, you could. So what is the role of the 10 in that? To participate in it together with the person. A person by himself alone can reach an understanding, agreement, actions, but he needs to do it with someone. He can't do it alone. This means that to reach true annulment towards the Creator, one cannot do it without the 10. Or can he? He cannot. Why, now I'll start explaining to you what the Torah is and why it was given not to one single person to note. Yes, go ahead. I heard now that a 10 can make a covenant with the Creator. Yes, if I'm making a covenant with the Creator, something that's too high, we're not capable of it, of agreeing together, do it, then can we in the meantime, can we, let's say, make a covenant with Am or with Rush? Or no, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as making a covenant with Rush. So what is the degree that we can hold on to or aim towards before we aim so high to make a covenant with the Creator? There's no middle point, so it's 0 or 1. Yes. Okay, right. More. Yes, I wanted to ask. He writes here that the covenant is that they make a covenant regarding the future, and their covenant is about the love that we have between them. So what is this thing that they have love between them? What is this? I like this first. Love that is weaved between the friends. They feel that they depend on each other, that they belong to a single spiritual root, and they are included in that, and so they advance, but they already have between them their Creator. Or is it that they make the covenant about the future? What is the contract between them about the Creator is not yet being revealed really, but they're advancing in that direction. They can identify, they can tell that there's going to be an upper force that will be revealed here, tying them together. I'm asking because we always say that love is the final complete state that we reach, and here the covenant is already about the love that they achieved between them. So what do you make a covenant over if you didn't yet achieve the love? Yes. Understand, we need to open it up a bit more to explain it more. Yes, it's a valid claim, right? I don't see any more questions now. We have some. Which lady is that? Her friend from the 10 is asking. Writes that one doesn't have the time to think with which intention he's studying or praying, but he performs actions without an intention. Then he enters the work of holiness, meaning he wants to be the servant of the Creator unconditionally. It is like a work that is below reason. So how do I check myself that I'm working above reason? In that place there's nowhere you can examine that. From what he writes here, we have to make an effort, of course, in our work to go about free on, in order to feel what this reason is and then to be in faith above reason, while reason itself remains on the same level that the Creator calibrated it in, us, meaning it will not be expressed in any way externally, it's all inner work. Yes, of course. Here I have just one question from T. Aviv, well, T. Aviv, what do you want to ask? You don't, all right. Holland, good morning, morning. What brings us to a state of wanting and agreeing to what the Creator wants? No, how do we reach a state where we agree to whatever the Creator wants from us or demands from us? We agree with the state as everything we get from the Creator. These are all things which we need to absorb into us to build and be built through these conditions which the Creature now presents to us. A lot of them. This we need to connect these things together between us and to elevate them, these conditions, these yearnings for the Creator. What is what makes it gives us the force to be able to agree. So what support do we need to come to this our agreement with the conditions of the Creator from our Creator? But now you understand at least. So I hear from what you say that the Creator wants us to come closer and to connect. And from where can we get the power to do this? Ask it of the Creator. Tell Him that you need power to connect. That's it, and without a doubt, if you request this of Him in a serious manner, you will receive it, and then you will have no problem. You will be then in spirituality with spiritual power on a certain degree. With respect to the Creator, go ahead. It's a very important topic. In the article it says that the desire to bestow is called light, meaning this lack that he sees, that he doesn't have the force of Baal. This is called a vessel. So what is our vessel in the T, and with what light should it be filled? My first of all, we have to feel Him, and later we work with. Do you have a question? Us, they're asking from USA Women 3. You told friend before that you don't make conditions in order to start the work of approaching the Creator, so they're asking He's operating for the benefit of the society. Is that something that brings us closer to the Creator, working for the sake of the society? Does that bring us closer to the Creator? No, I'm not sure. First of all, what does it mean for the sake of the society? I don't know. And is it in a state where even if the operation is corrected, maybe it's not for now, maybe it doesn't bring us closer to the Creator? It doesn't have to happen. So they continue in asking, what about the prayer? Can prayer alone bring us closer to the Creator? Yes, of course. Yes, in regards to the preparation to the convention one, how does it look like when a 10 is prepared for the convention? A 10 that's prepared for the congress is cancels itself, annuls itself before itself, and it annuls itself before all the participants in the congress. This gives it a possibility to be incorporated with everyone, and then it's in a state of congress in annulment of itself. From PT5 there, asking at the time that we feel connection between ask and we demand for the Creators as well, or only when we distant and unable to come closer, then we can really turn to Him. It doesn't matter, there's no situation from which a person cannot turn to the Creator, no such state from minus to plus. In every action, every operation, he can turn to the Creator, and we shouldn't wait for anything. That's it. Thank you. Okay, so what are we doing next? We have the document about singing and in convention. We could do the part. Yes, it's we also have the opening, the preface to the wisdom of Kabbalah. We can go through it now. Yeah, if we get into it. No, it won't come out nice. Who has more questions? Please. I wanted to ask if, according to our ability to do common actions that are successful in the 10 in the 10, if we can measure according to that the magnitude of our connection, do it in partnership with you, where you see that there's an opportunity and it's worthwhile. Afterwards we can measure, we can check what is the result in this, meaning if there's forces to do an action, for example, we do a common action and there's no strength. Let's say we prayed and we received strength to do this action. Can it be counted as if it's a successful action? an action that there's something in it. Well, I just do it and bring the result over here as you think. Do a little research work and then we'll see if you really have connected and entered a connection, and in this connection is there a place for spirituality? Can I ask another question? Yes, for example, in the convention when we sit in our permanent tens, let's say, we sit a certain amount of friends and possibly we'll have more friends from a different how should we behave in such a state? You can be connected among yourselves. I don't know it. It depends what were you thinking. Firstly, it's not correct. Each one will sit in his own ten, and we do not add friends. We do not mix friends from different tens. Each ten sits alone, and connects with itself. But if there are only 3-4 friends right now, then they connect with the friends who are virtually and cannot come, and if they're sitting 3-4 friends, they'll be sitting alongside with 3 more 4 friends from a different we simply keeping this, which is a 10. Do you understand how this will happen? Yes, you do. Okay, do you think that we should do it differently? No, even this I can't picture it to myself logistically. You mean that's what you mean? Not even logistically, we have experience in it. We've tried it before. Okay, good. Yes, this matter is not clear. Maybe Duddy can explain a bit more how it would be. For example, at the beginning of the convention there's a workshop. I'm my only representative of my 10 here. Does that mean that I need to connect to my 10 virtually? How? Through Zoom, through the system, and like that all over the world? How? At one moment the whole world CLE can connect to his 10 at CL. It's simply unclear. I'll explain about the technically. When friends enroll to the convention, we already know what 10 they belong to, and then accordingly we organize the whole where the convention is going to be, so that each 10 would know where they're sitting, and it's organized throughout the whole convention. That's technically where I sit with my 10 now. In regards to whether we are less than 2 people, if we are not the complete 10 and there's more friends with us on the table, when we consulted with you and we asked you several times, you said again and again that the main thing is that the person would be with us. Then we gave you the example that if there's 2 friends who came from overseas, and happens if we have a workshop question, and you said that the most correct thing to do is when you have a workshop is to be connected with your 10 even if it's virtually. So now that friends come, the question rises again, if for example both of us came from an overseas 10, and next to us there's friends who came from the SOI 10, and other 3 who came from Kazakhstan. Do we all become 1-0 in the convention, or each one of these cells continue to go on with this virtual 10? For example, Alan, he will have the KN to both of them need to connect to the 10 in Moscow or not during the convention. They turn into a 110 with whoever is sitting with them on the tables. That's where the question stands. So here is where we turn the question to you. Spiritually, what is the most correct thing to do? Physically, we could solve everything. Spiritually, what should we do? Usually, the technical is the problem. How? In such a situation where, for example, Golan is sitting here and his whole group is in Moscow, and he is with is with various Russians or Israelis too. He's sitting with them at the table. So generally speaking, the table is organized according to languages. So when they come, we already know what they are from. So all the friends that are from the 10 will sit in the same table. So if now we have a decision that says we're doing a workshop, all of us together, they will do a workshop, all of them Russian speakers. He won't be sitting with friends who don't speak Russian in the table. We will be sitting with friends who speak Russian in the table. So now if we change the decision and we say that we do a workshop with everyone, or we stay with the decision that I'm doing the workshop with the 10. So once there's a workshop, you simply connect with them virtually as they do. At any stage we have Fiat system, we have Zooms, we connect with them and do a workshop. If that doesn't work out together, we can change it in a moment. The model of the convention, and we're going to the direction that we're doing a workshop with whoever is sitting with me on the table. We simply went according to the guidance that you gave us, that in order for us to advance spiritually, each one should be in his own tea. So maybe if you can just relate to that point, ACC in from the sense of the spiritual side of it. Myself and Moshe are the only ones who are from our 10 in the convention. What do we do? Do we both do the workshop with other friends, or do we connect virtually with our 10 and do the workshop with them virtually? So that's what the question is about. What do we do? I came alone. For example, I came alone to the convention. I decided I wanted to fly. All my 10 stayed in Moscow, and I'm here alone. Do I connect to them virtually, or I do it in with the friends on the table virtually? Yeah, it's if I understand the question a bit deeper. I'm here with friends. Do I devote to them? I'm connected with them. Start to work with them as a 10. Temporarily, it's a random. Do I start to work with them, or I don't? So I stay in loyal to my 10, or I look for connection with my 10. Whoever, wherever the 10 is Moscow. Wherever. Yes, what of them? What do you mean? Yes, be connected to your authentic 10. So now the friends, the great friends from all over the world, they're connected to their tea virtually, but they're sitting technically together. Is that the same? Yes. Why is it important? Because it's connections that we can't tear, cut. These are natural connections that we have already established. That to me, these people, these individuals, are my partners on the path. There are states I'm asking in regard to the convention that we is. There any states in the convention that we with, that we incorporated with each and everyone that's with us, or not? Maybe we can do something like that, but it'll be temporary, artificial, and will not leave any impression. Clear, it's artificial. Okay, in the lessons we sit together, in the meals we sit together, at the evening, the cultural evenings, yes. Also, so it doesn't matter what happens. I'm sitting with my 10, meaning what do you mean? Mine, each one is in his own 10, but your 10 is in a different place if there's only one here from Moscow. So I sit with the Russian speakers who came from the world. See Ali here, and I connect virtually if we talk, and if not, I'm just included in the general atmosphere. Yes, another question, if we sit together and we do not talk, what's the spiritual force in it? As spiritual bodies, is there any force, strength in it? If it's your 10, then there's other power to it. Thank you. Yes, I wanted to understand technically how it would work, so it won't be hypothetically. Let's just say there's a table here, there's friends from the whole world. CLE, let's say for example, we sit in the lesson as it is now happening. We spoke for an hour and a half. We sat together, we drank a coffee together. Now say wants to do a workshop question, and he says workshop question in D's 10. He sits with his friends, and they do a workshop. The other 10, Gabrielle and his friends, are doing workshop here in this table. Like, we're going to have a few more in the convention. When friends come, they're not going to do a workshop. Each one takes out his mobile device and calls his friends in his original 10, but they might be in a one place in the world, or maybe different places around the world. As the friend from SOI said, they're going to be in 5 different places around the world. So each one takes out a mobile device and does a workshop with the friend. So what happens here is each of friend here speaks to his mobile. Makat is going to be talking to his 10. He's going to be talking to his friend Estonia 10, going to be here, and each one talks to his own. Is that how it's going to be in the convention? I don't know. So that's the question that they are asking. Basically, that's what it should be like according to the laws of connection. What are you going to do? The other option is that they would not take out each one their mobile devices and connect to their friends around the world, but talk to themselves between themselves in the workshop question that's been asked. But how will they speak among them? What's the problem? They all speak Russian. Well, they all be speaking English or Spanish according in any case, we're going to be saying them according to their languages, so it's not a language issue. The question is, who is He going to talk to the one who's next to him shoulder to shoulder, or he's looking for his friend around the world on his mobile device, but the friends were next to him, not necessarily from his 10, they're not from his 10, they're not specifically from his 10. Maybe Alan will have his friend Denise next to him, but for Dan, for example, there's no friend, he came alone. So he's now on his computer or his on his mobile device, he can ring him, yes. Andan is going to ring his friends and Misha to his friends and so forth. So the friends are asking, what is our operational guidance? What are we going to do? I don't know, we had a question and these guys did something. No, the question was hypothetically, and now it's reality, and here's a table as an example for it. So, as preparation for the convention, what do we expect of them to do? Let's say, next moment, we have a workshop question. I have no idea. Oh, and okay, thank you know, but don't just say thank you and that's it. No, they will say how they will uphold the guidance, or someone wants to say, D wants to speak. I want to say that we heard from RAV, and not in the last month only, that RC in the permanent 10 are unique. Do not tear them, do not cut them off. It's natural connections that we've determined, and these people are my partners to the path. Therefore there is no problem in our virtual world of our times to see each one with his mobile device and connect with his friends. There is such connection, there is such reality. It's all okay, it looks ridiculous, it looks out of reality, but there are such connection, and we know it from our Zoom. So let's realize, browse advice, but you tell me, maybe there's something more convenient, better, more comfortable. What they're asking, they want to be one now, they want to leave their 10s and to connect as a random 10. Okay, I understand. No, well, okay, you say speed. Love, we can do an experiment maybe before the convention and get an indication how the world CLE all will have the same understanding, that each one sits in his own 10 and each one is connected to his own 10, and try how can we react and move towards the state and receive the returning light, and how to realize such a system. Okay, try it and see for yourselves, make it short. I was being asked to ask from the other band of the convention. We're all doing roles and we're all going to be sitting together. We cannot take out our mobile phones and start connecting with the T. The question is, do we do a workshop between us, or we all do intention and thinking about our own 10 according to what we're saying here? What do you think? I can talk for myself. I think that we should all be in a silence and be in internal prayer towards that, and that's what I feel from what you're saying. Yes, thank you very much. I would like now that other team would show their room. That will show an example that they're in and there's 3 friends who are sitting in the room. There's a friend from MS, there's another friend from Keston, and there's another friend with the Alma one. We see that Alex is sitting in the room with his mobile phone, and it's working, and during the convention, as the entire region will be 110, and that's a practical example of how it's happening, and later on we'll be back to our regions and our T, but now as a region we are as 110, even a Siberia. They're not all of them are coming, but keep the connection between them. Thank you very much. Does that mean that we're developing to a point where we will reach a point where people cannot attend congresses on their own because I came here with the permission of my 10? They said, bride, go, because we can't make it so. You have to be there for us, and you be speaking for us, and we're one. So in that case, what does it mean for any that will we reach a point where only 10s can go together, or we'll be dealing with 10s and nothing else? What is closer to the correction of the vessels? This is what will determine now. We only talked about making a special connection for the Congress, that it's not good, because what do we do by that? After the Congress, we disperse in every direction as if nothing happened between us. We have to make it so that the Congress doesn't break that system that we are in, but rather we came to the Congress. So, well, of how many are coming here? 1,220 only. 220 men and women. Yes, so 220 men And women, what are we going to do? Turn them into some separate group? It's incorrect. We want to maintain their connection with their groups during the Congress too. So what's the role of the individual here? In the Congress, you are with us at the Congress, and you are transferring, you passing to your group all your impressions from the Congress, from what we're learning, singing everything there is. You're passing as much information as possible in spirit, and after the Congress you go back there and you become incorporated with them as if you never left. Said they're going to be different people coming from different places. So how do we realize the place of the nation of Israel, the people of Israel, in this situation? Like, people come from different places and they're not in tents, but they're going to be at the Congress. So what is their role with respect to the tens and with respect to the unity of our connection? Right, asking if I'm a widening, broadening the question. How is he as a part of the 10 is asking, how do I realize my role here as part of my 10 in the convention? You are here at the Congress as you are, and in addition you're with your 10, and in addition you are a representative of your country, your nation. Everything there is you're carrying it all with you, and with it you're here, and it's a very big addition to the group at the Congress. Thank you. No, yeah. In actual fact, there's such an option as usual in the convention to hold my 10 in their heart, but from what I'm understanding, you're not suggesting to just hold them in the heart, but to not move to a different T in the convention, not to connect as a 10 to the 220 people who came here and other people who went to different cities around the world and have the same problem. I don't see how technically we can prepare for it. What do we sit with 2 earbuds in our ear? Not all of us have these good quality earphones or such quality microphone. It's not so great as maybe we can sit maybe like translators we sit with the headphones on. Maybe if we set it as a goal that what's effective and correct, and so each one before the convention should look for the right technical equipment, and then we can do it if it's entirely necessary. The friends here from the technology department and the hosting department, they're saying they'll tend to every technological need that any friend has. They're saying there's no problem. They'll take care of all your needs in order to connect if it's possible. I would like to just put things into proportion about the quantity of workshops we're going to have in the convention. We asked you many times, are you going to do workshop? And you answered, no, I'm not going to do workshops in my lessons. I want to give the lesson. And each time we asked you that question, you stayed on the same line. It didn't change it. Additionally, we don't have preparation for the lessons. The preparation for the lessons is a quiet preparation. Each 10 enters the lesson with their own preparation. There is no talking. There's maybe music, or the only time that we might have workshops is the social time. It's the one time slot that we have is the A social time. That's one time that we might have workshop question, and maybe in a mill or two we'll have a place where we're going to talk, but the most of the time you just consume content from frenzy talk, from clicks, or a material we're going to read. So the amount of times we're going to be speaking is quite limited. So maybe we can keep it into other right proportions. Yes. Well, you didn't want to, you wanted to. Yes, thank you, Ari. In the preparation the friends from Africa talked about, and in the article we also read about this annulment, this cancellation towards the in our covenant with the Creator. Sorry, and now it's very much felt the privilege to put our understandings to the side and follow whatever the Kabbalist is telling us what's in this and that allows us to enter a new degree. It's annulment for the sake of connection. No, it doesn't seem so clear. It doesn't always seem so clear. There are many things that can be towards the connection or towards the non-connection. That's why it's a bit slippery. It's not clear whether I should know myself now or not. It's not clear. And for me it's felt as if it is all around this point that we will also be able to do a covenant with the Creator. It's only through our bowing of our head or a normand in the tent, and also now to enter a new degree of the convention which you want to lead us to. We ask the same question today might be the 20 different variations, and you give us the same answer. It's as if that a matter of a normand towards the upper one is not obvious. Why is it so hidden? Because that's the way it is. It's hidden. It's not up to us, but the fact that it's hidden is good. That the important thing is to find the key to it. How do we not miss this opportunity to unknow ourselves, to see it, but not to miss it, to put our mind a reason to decide? Connection is the whole thing. The whole point in connection. You don't really have much of an intellect. We just have to unite. Who doesn't understand what it is seemingly can. I also have that question constantly. Maybe I'll ask it simple. What do we gain more from if we heard that our saying something that we never done it? It doesn't seem reasonable, or we all try to scrutinize it and convince and see why it's correct or incorrect, and at the end of the day we see that we do it, and eventually we'll do the same thing. What do we gain more from to accept what D said as what we going to do, or that we dean what's the correct decision? The fact that when all of us come to a general solution, all of us meaning it's good, that we flood this resistance and we show all these resistances, and it's a right move. Yes, mean is a good process, which is a process that we need. I want to ask if, for example, I would have gone to somewhere else around the world for the convention, and I wouldn't have been physically with the bodies of my 10. How do I give the spirit to my 10? How do I pass on something to my 10 when I'm not physically with them? Who are you? With no one. No one, no one. I'm here included in the convention. For example, I'm here on my own. I came from overseas alone, so you'd be giving them your impressions. My impression. How do I give them my impression? How do you give that? Are you talking among yourselves, or you not? We talk between ourselves. But if we wouldn't have talked between us, would something from my impression, from my feeling, would have been given away to my friends? Yes, you always have. You also have a connection with them beforehand. You're in a group, you're in connection. Okay, well, ask, go ahead. I want to ask from a different angle. Is it a correct state in the society, or we need to correct it? That now that we are focused in the 10 there, is there a situation where a friend comes to sit in front of a different T, or it gets the sour face, or maybe a face that says you not belong to us, or something that damages the intimacy between them? Is it something that we need to talk about to conclude? Is it natural? I don't know. How are you sitting at the Congress now, for example, in the meal? They decided that we sit together in the mills, yes, and turns out that some friend alone, and he sits next to different tent, and we see that there is maybe you're in an internal relation. Maybe it's even expressed outwardly that you don't belong to us, but we are sitting with our 10, and now there's a guest sitting with us. Yes, yeah, go ahead. So I'm asking, is it a correct state, or we need to correct it as correct situation that you don't want to accept someone else, yeah, with a foreign kind of a relationship towards him? That's it's a closed up group of our own, and you don't belong to us. It's not going to help keep it this way. It'll be like that. No, I don't want. Just okay, guys. Yes, you have a question that came from different friends doing mirror congresses in different regions. They're asking what up, because we're going to be working in our permanent tents. What is the strength that comes from friends who are gathered from different places, or the strength or power is only received from friends who are in the permanent T? But there's friends who come from different regions, and not any from the same T, but they do an event. But the part of is their force of this gathering. The power of a gathering is there, even if they come from from all the continents. We see it. This is how we accept them. But to create changes in our framework, that's not good. That's it. Yes, understand it very much the matter of being in the 10, but on the other hand, I see a reality that I cannot ignore. Friends come a week and a half before The convention, they sit together, they eat together, they know through a whole week. Together, when we began talking about it, there's a lot of, there's a strong influence about it. They really want to, and they start feeling it from each other, this inclination, this physical influence. You also cannot break the desire of the person. That is not satisfied, it's not healthy. Yes, here's the dilemma. They came physically, and we know that the physical influence is very strong, and a person is drawn physically more to the person who are next to him, physically to those who are virtually. And now I'm concerned about these friends that they will have are a good convention, that they will be happy, that will do the work in a full manner, and they will have a stronger influence from the physicality than the one that you will get from virtually. So what do you recommend? I don't know what to recommend, but I want to show the other side and to say that we have no choice but to consider it in some manner. So bring ideas. It's important to mention that we do meet with people, we have breaks. For example, today, maybe after the lesson, friends will go to the beach and we talk to each other. It's not that as if we're not connect with each other or only with our 10. So it's define that in the lessons or the events we'll be with our 10, but in between we talk, we hug, we do a gathering of friends in white with each other. So there's also another aspect of it that we need to look at. Okay, yes, you wanted to ask all the time, not no microphone, give him a microphone. We constantly talked about the fact that the connection in one table is stronger physically. What happened, what changed, how come in one table we're not talking to each other? Seems to me as if it's against everything we studied up till today. You may be right, I don't even have that question. Yes, we didn't really understand the answer that you gave, Yakov, in regards to mirror congresses. In regards to mirror congresses, I know how hard it is to organize these congresses, how hard it is to gather these friends, and it's not clear what should we even go to the convention for. I can sit with my 10, maybe virtually is more comfortable. Why do we need all these mirror congresses to waste all my efforts and spend money to come there? I think that in the future it will kill all our mirror congresses, and in all the mirror congresses a lot of friends from different TS gather. Well, in the end, this is something you have to decide for yourselves. You have here all the managers are people in charge. You have everyone, so it all depends on you. I want to ask in general, from my breakage, I hear R say something. After a while I hear him say something completely different. That's in my broken vessels. What is more correct for me in order to settle such contradiction? Do I what I've heard so far? Do I raise it and take whatever I heard just now? Is that the correct approach, or to make a combination or discernment out of it? I don't know. I don't know. We are not hiding that sometimes we change our line or the principles of connection completely. I'm saying, and it could be now specifically, it's a discussion about the 10, but many times I completely understand that it's from my breakage. I hear R say something, and it could be that half an hour later I'll hear something completely different, and it's from my hearing. How could it be that he contradicts himself in the same lesson? What is the advice? Maybe Rabash writes about it, but what is the advice? To relate to RV's advices and to practically do it correct each time, to just wash your ears. Now I hear from your guidance, and from now on this is my guidance. What the last thing I've heard? Yes, all right. Morning, I wanted to ask you, what is the result from all this? The morning with the 10, the noon with the 10, evening with the 10, meal with the 10, convention with the 10, a meal of the convention with the 10. The important thing is the end of correction with a 10. It's all for that, and now I must say that I do feel closer to the 10 with it. Is up beforehand we were only in the lesson together, but now we do it in the meal as well. Then the connection is up tighter, closer. That's one thing. The second, then I do see that something has changed, but the question is, to what state do we come to? 'Cause slowly I feel as if I'm not alone. I'm not with myself. I'm Slowly I melt with my 10 I melt with my tea as if I do not yix. There's only the 10 now is that the state that we come to yes and even more even. More tea thank. You okay? Yes. Chum. Hello. Teacher, this approach of looking for a golden guidance, is it a good thing? I don't understand all these conflicts. All these divisions here, why not to let each friend come to the bridge and cross it at the end of the day? We're all going in the one direction. No, because we can't even approach the bridge unless we're connected. If we didn't learn what connection means and how to correct it and how to prepare it, and we have no choice. The advancement from side to side, 1 meter forward, it is to constantly change the connection between us to make it more substantial. I personally have no problem to sit with them for one lesson and go sit with the English speakers for different event to refresh everything. I don't have a problem with it. If somebody wants to do it, it's not harmful. If one friend wants to sit on the mobile and talk to them, and maybe there's others who will decide now physically more suitable for them, don't you think that the friends are developed enough to make such a decision? I may be agreeing with you or whatever, but sis, this is what they wrote for us. The things that they wrote for us and give it to us for us to do, yeah. But the capitalists say that there's many ways to the place to the same place. No. Don't just throw it, don't stop with it. I have to teach principles and connection, constant connection in the 10. Even in the even in the turrets written, you can't say just. This is something that was done in the last century or in the 15th century or in the 10th, 20th century. No. It's a natural, it's a principle in nature. You can't get out of it, but you see that each one goes through different directions. Let it burn, but for half an hour you're sitting here and saying, oh, I don't have an advice to give, but they keep on, asking you give us a guidance, and you say there's no permanent thing, but why don't you give him it's a chaos? No, but maybe just to connect with the creator. No, I'm telling you, very simple. No, because it's a law. It's not you, it's not me. No one can determine it. That's it. Something else. Yes. Soon I'm very concerned about the work in the tea during the convention, because the format is going to be questions and answers as we are now in the lesson. Friends will get up from Israel and from the world, not specifically from my 10. They're going to ask our question as it is now. So it's still not clear to me how to give the extra. Sorry. What if it now that there is answers a question in the assembly that I connect with us with my 10. We sit together the bodies. What I don't understand, how do we connect from deficiency lacks that other friends raises? For example, why came and other friends raises question, what should I do when a friend is asking a question? You have to participate in this to be incorporated in him to annulled towards his lack. What should I do with it? I hear it like an advice, and I measure to what extent it can be correct or not toward me, toward my 10. That's intellectual work. Yes, you just said. What about our internal work? First I have to see to what extent it's accepted in my heart, it's received in my heart. So I need to do internal heartfelt work towards the question of the friends in the convention. Yes, that doesn't break my permanent 10. That I'm trying to be incorporated in a friend who's asking a question, and he, not for my, but we can always be in such states that I'm with my 10 and someone comes and says a sentence. So, what I put, I simply am unable to understand yet. The whole discussion, the whole focus, the whole center of gravity of the convention, the whole process that we go through is the permanent 10 to reach in it and an intimate connection. Of why do I say it? I say because every Saturday night we have our meeting. We sit in our friend's house and we read. And we do a workshop between us and we connect. It's very, very powerful each time. It's a very, very powerful state. Very intimate each time, and we don't reach it in the lesson. In the lesson is a different story. The question is how to bring this in intimate space of our 10 that talk between them and do a workshop between them, that there's no world outside just them, how to bring it into a lesson, and friends are asking question and brings up all their deficiencies, and I feel as if it's spreading me all over the place. How do I not do it, and just come close? I understand you, but I have no answer. I have no answer. What do you expect that we do? During the lesson, what should I do? During the lesson, me and my permanent 10, I have to ask you this, not myself, because I shouldn't be here in this lesson. I should not be okay. Yes, nevertheless, we're not going to always have the technical option to be with the T during their convention, and there's a feeling that we need to hold on and to the internal connection, how to hold on to this point of unity, the internal point of unity. Can I speak Russian too? I don't think we will constantly be gathering in the same way we do today, and that the 10 that will gather at the Congress today, you'll be gathering in the same tea. Next time different people will come. Every time different people will come, I think. I don't know, but we'll have to do something for it not to all fall apart. The fact that we're having congresses, I don't even know how much it helps. Maybe it's other way around, because people have gotten used to working in their own place, in their own city, in their own country, and here something's happening, which is a mixture of everything. I don't know. Previously, not too many years ago, it was good, but now I don't know anymore. Now I don't know. We have to think about it hard what to do with these congresses going forward. We'll see. Does anyone else want to ask their continuing if we've decided to descend? So let's be reminded there was a reason for which we were invited to come here 2 months ago. They said there is going to be a convention, and of course we live far. We bought our airs, and we aimed ourselves to come here in order to give impressions to others, and with this intention we came here. And now there is a reason that we came here, that we should have come here in order to continue our work. We are connected with the 10. I now sit with my 10 in the a lot system. What do I add by me being here in order to advance my friends towards the Creator? I don't know you. You're conveying all this. You're going through all this in your internal connection in the hearts, and concerning the topic itself, that's irrelevant. There's no connection to it. I don't know what to tell you. You have organizers who determine everything, the study materials, the order of the congresses, everything. I don't know what it will be like next time. I understand how difficult it is for you to come here, but you also could not come. We will see. Yes, Rack. For is it more acceptable that the 10 who gathered among themselves did not come to the Congress, or is it more applicable that they will all gather separately? What is the correct form for attend together for the convention? That's what he's asking in essence, because there's different circumstances. There's that can gather together, there are that can't. There's those who can meet physically. Is there a state where a 10 can gather together and they are not doing it for the convention? I don't think that's correct. No, gathering together in one place, this is correct, and that's it. Traveling someplace or this whole mess with languages, I wouldn't do it. It doesn't add so much, but remaining connected with the same people and constantly seeing that we get to a more internal connection, a more centralized. This is what's important to that's it. Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, thank you. Few months ago have invited all of any to the convention. Everyone who came here, I had a quite complicated choice whether to come or not to come, because almost a year now that we didn't have. Last year I came 3 times, and now a full year. On the other hand, the safety, the security state, those who came and will come, they made the choice. They came here, but a few weeks before there were period of time that in the lessons there were scrutiny whether person can come or not, because it wasn't clear from the answers of the teacher that the convention is going to be in the internal T again. There was this lack of clarity, the space of choice. Usually You have like a ruler of choice where you can put yourself on the spectrum of choice, and it wasn't clear, and I've called friends from the in order to understand, so it won't be according to a decision according to my personal decision. So I rang and I asked, should I come here or should I stay with the 10? And the answer was, it's your choice. So we overcame that as well, and we came here, and now we came to a third limit, a third border I have no complaint to. The Creator, everything changes always, and I know that alongside with you we will go through everything all the way to the end. I'm certain of it. The question is not from the technical side of things. I want to hear from you. I just want to hear from you. What do you expect from us? We will do everything. What do you expect of us? I don't know how to ask correctly. What should we overcome? What should we go above? Of what is the movement? How to clean all the importance of all the imaginary things, and to come to the essence and to continue with you. I remember once I've asked you what to do when you feel fear, and you said close your eyes and just jump into the connection. So now, what is the point to which we need to jump to in principle? As such a request or aspiration pertains to our present state, there cannot be any next step if a person doesn't know that he's going for the unknown. We have no other way, and I also don't hide it. You can't hide it. You see the kind of world we live in. Nothing is simple. On the one hand, we can complain that the Creator is placing such circumstances before us. On the other hand, we should still go with faith above reason, and then we will overcome everything. A few years ago that there was a convention. It wasn't just one convention. It was systematically that RAV sees a new state. I don't know exactly what you see, but I remember that once a few years back you banished the man outside, and I'll say it in my words, because outside the program you told them, go outside and connect, do not come back until you're connected. So everything can change. My question is, where are we jumping now whilst we close our eyes? Where to jump? To only to the center of the connection. If we really jump into the center of the connection, then as we are flying, as we are in the air, we'll see the Creator coming toward us. It's not important, okay? Yes. Norma does that the changes or that the conditions of this a convention are they not a sign of maturity? Is not as if you trust us more, that we came to a point where you feel that we are able to overcome all the difficulties, and it's specifically a sign of your confidence in us. Is it not? So I have a feeling that I'm kind of pulling you toward the past instead of the future. I'm holding you back. It may be so. Perhaps you should already take steps on your own, and you will probably have to do this soon, and this is actually the right solution. Yes. Okay, the meaning is that we will do the work more internally within the 10, so there won't be any other framework. Okay, I understand you. Yes, if we go back to what we read in the article, how to go blindly and to follow the Creator. If you are in connection with a 10 and you all agree with this connection and with the path and with the goal, this all of this should aim, you should direct you. This is what you need to do, and then there will be no doubts. Because if the 10 decides, the 10 might be now it might be 200, 300, whatever, all over the world, it's always there. 10. Thank you. Continuing the friends, you said that there cannot be next step unless the person knows that he's going to the unknown. Yes, when we feel that there's a sort of a fog ahead of us, it's not clear. We sit here, there's 1,000 direction. It's not clear. Friends are insulted. It's something here is not clear. When we're going towards the future, which is an unknown, how do we know that we are advancing in the right direction, even though it's in the darkness? But we're still advancing in the right Sion. It's always called that in the desert too. When the people of Israel walked in the desert, it was always like that you don't see like you're driving some on a road. You have road signs, the distances and where you're going, and where the road is leading. In the desert, such directions don't exist, so I'm actually happy that that's The way it is you're learning, you're getting many impressions. How do we walk in the desert? How do we walk correctly in the desert? I don't know what to tell you. It depends on where you see your star. That's it. That's okay. Yes. Okay, Rar, I want specifically to ask today. There is a gathering of friends, the world gathering of friends. Yes, there are moments in our 10 that we can be as 110 in the world gathering of friends as 110. Yes, prepare yourselves. No, yes, man. Yes, I wanted to conclude or summarize everything that's been said here and to thank you. Because in the feeling it's truly felt that we have ascended to a new degree that it's not clear what's going to be in it, but there is a lot of joy and gratitude towards you and the friends that have been waited for us in great trepidation, and they want to connect with us as it used to be, but in the feeling the power what you just gave us now is above everything, and we accept it, and we thank you, dear of, and that may the Creator bless us and give you a lot of health. A good luck to all of us. Okay, yes, that's it. You don't have anything to say. We have tonight a gathering of friends that will cover everything with love.